11, a woman living inside a storm drain in South LA. Well, now Mayor Karen Bass is reacting, calling it a tragedy, but is anything being done to help?
Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf first broke this story. He's live in South LA with the latest. Matthew?
Yeah, we're actually at 45th and Grant tonight, where LA sanitation workers are out clearing out encampments. I was speaking with some of those workers off camera. They said that the mayor's office kind of put them out this week, really telling them to double down and really check those storm drains and really clear them out if you can. But they're also worried about resources, saying that they're being stretched thin. Go ahead and take a look at this video, because this is what started it all. You can see that this is today. That woman that was inside the storm drain just yesterday offered help by the city's Circle mental health team. She appeared to be okay, but refused any help, kept walking. Now, as city workers were putting a new cap on that storm drain today, a witness tells me another person was inside and climbed out. So at least two people, maybe more, just in that one drain. Conditions inside worse than you can imagine. Human waste, trash, filth. Hazmat crews spent better part of at least 5 hours cleaning out that one drain yesterday, declaring it a hot zone. But tonight, for the first time, Mayor Bass now publicly saying something about these images we've been reporting on this week.
I think it is an extreme example of the problem with homelessness in our city. I am glad that street homelessness is down 2 years in a row for the first time, 17%. I'm also glad that the mortality rate is down, but we still, of course, have tens of thousands of people that are unhoused. But we will continue with a sense of urgency until street homelessness is gone.
Just speaking with people across the community, a lot of people do question those numbers. But out here tonight, now the question is, how many people, how broad of an issue is this with people living in storm drains across LA? I know I've been getting some tips on Instagram of other possible locations. But yeah, it seems like this is a concern that a lot of people have. We're live tonight in South LA. Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
So Matthew, you encountered the woman today that you met 2 days ago. And if it's the same person that Christina Gonzalez interviewed in the middle day, she said that she would go for help. She would take housing. So tonight you saw her walking down with a cart. That same woman, apparently she didn't take the services.
Yeah, you know, it seems pretty common when you actually speak with these people. They'll a lot of times say that they would like that. They would, want the housing, they want the help. But when it comes down to it, for whatever reason, they have certain reasons that they'll tell us. Maybe they don't trust the shelter, they don't like the shelter, they don't feel safe in the shelter, and a lot of times they do deny the help that's being offered to them.
Now, when you talk about that this could be happening in other parts of Los Angeles, does the mayor have any intention of looking into that in other neighborhoods?
Yeah, well, just speaking with these sanitation workers out here tonight, they say that the mayor's office putting pressure on LA sanitation to come out here, clear out these encampments the best they can, which we see them all over, and they are clearing out some spots right here, right now, but to also check inside storm drains. So at this point, it seems like they're also trying to get to the bottom of this as well, just to see how common this is.
Well, we've covered stories about the homeless all over Southern California. I got to think the viewers are watching this thinking, okay, so Fox 11 comes out there on Monday. Sanitation crews rush out there now. The mayor responds now. But what about all the other areas that are ongoing with problems?
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a widespread issue. I mean, we've covered encampments in all the parts of the city, really. But right now, it seems like the focus is on South LA, just because that's where that storm drain, that person was living inside that storm drain. And just being down here the last couple of days, it's pretty bad. I mean, there's lots of issues down here.
Yeah. Matthew Seedorf, great reporting as always. Thank you so much. New tonight, recovery efforts from the Eaton fire take a dramatic turn, with neighbors at odds, lawsuits flying, and now some homeowners are getting hit with an HOA bill, almost $24,000 each.
That's a wow, right? How are residents dealing with it all? We go live to Fox 11's Ed Lascos in Altadena with more on that story. Ed.
Christina, wild situation here. Imagine getting hit with an assessment almost $24,000. You have a short period of time to pay it, and you're one of those who lost everything. You have nothing left but a burnt-out land. Your home is gone. That's the situation here. That's the controversy. Let's get right to it. To the video we go, talking about the gated high-end community of Lavina. If you're familiar with it. It's high in the hills up on the northwestern side of Altadena. Some 300 homes here, more than 50 of them burned, destroyed in the devastating Eaton fire, several others heavily damaged. And now you have the HOA a year later trying to rebuild, saying it needs some $61 million for those fire repair costs, everything from infrastructure like fencing, landscaping, irrigation. But the HOA doesn't have all of that money. Their insurance won't cover. So you and I know, what does the HOA do when it needs money? Yes, it hits everybody, the homeowners, with an assessment. But wait until you hear how much this assessment is, and especially the terms of when it has to be paid and what happens if you can't pay it. Listen.
Expect us to give them $24,000 with 30 days notice.
24 grand.
24 grand, or risk liens, late fees, 12% interest, and the removal of your house, actually auctioning off your home.
A lot of these people, 50 some of them, they have nothing. There's nothing. Everything burned down.
Exactly.
And they got to pay 24 grand.
Yes, they do. Let's negotiate with all of these companies. Maybe there's a way to bring it down and figure out a payment plan that's fair to everybody. If you can pay it now, great. If you can't pay it for 6 months, we feel bad for you, but we're going to allow you to pay it off over 6 months because your house just burned. The pain continues, and it's really split this community, and I don't know how we get back from this. I think it's pitted neighbor against neighbor. People think I'm a troublemaker just because I'm asking questions and want fairness.
Now live, Ryan says he wants fairness. He really wants transparency. He says he's been pressing the HOA for that transparency. Unhappy he's not getting the answers he wants. We've been trying to contact the HOA. No luck there as well. There's been some lawsuits filed, but ladies, it's a tough battle. Almost as they say, think about it, it's like fighting City Hall. You can't win. The HOAs right through the state, they have a great deal of power. A lot of us have been through it before, and that's what these folks are dealing with here. But they're really upset because they understand you're rebuilding from that horrible fire, but the high cost and then the quick payment plan, and then the threats if you can't make the payment plan, what happens in terms of interest and everything else that goes on. Well, we're not in LA, but look at this. We even have some activity here. Ladies, we'll throw it back to you, okay?
Yeah, that's a good idea, Ed. You and photographer out there, please stay safe. Let us know you're okay. Let us know if we can do anything. Ed, thanks so much. A seismic shift in the tech world. The Los Angeles jury finds both Meta and YouTube liable in a landmark social media addiction trial. Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez runs it all down for us.
Reaction from parents waiting outside the LA courthouse, where a jury found that YouTube and Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, maliciously used practices that allegedly addicted children and harmed their mental health, particularly that of the 20-year-old plaintiff standing next to her attorney.
This message is one that's important to Kaylee and her family, but it's a very great importance to a generation of people, that you will be held accountable for the features, regardless of whether the children are getting sent pornographic pictures, regardless of whether they're being sexploitated, regardless of those types of issues. Just because of the features alone that drive addiction, these companies can be held accountable.
How accountable? $3 million in compensatory damages and another $3 million for punitive damages, with YouTube responsible for 30%, Meta 70% because of its larger stockholder equity.
We respectfully disagree with the verdict and will appeal. Teen mental health is profoundly complex and cannot be linked to a single app. We will continue to defend ourselves vigorously, as every case is different.
Similar cases are making their way through the courts. Parents like the ones present every day during the LA trial, with photos of the children they claim were harmed by social media.
I want everybody here, every parent here, to say their child's name. Annalise Shot, Colorado. Coco Conar, Los Angeles.
Been a complete validation of what we've been screaming on the top of roofs about for years. Stop blaming the parents. It's on you.
YouTube reacting with a written statement saying, in part, this case misunderstands YouTube, which is a responsibly built streaming platform, not a social media site. They add that they completely disagree and they do plan to appeal. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Christina Gonzalez, Fox 11 News.
Birds still ahead at 8. Travel turbulence continues at the airport. Unreal wait times and unpaid TSA agents. With Congress.
I'm Laura Diaz in downtown Los Angeles. Are you wondering if the LA Dodgers are going to go to the White House? Well, coming up, we'll tell you all about it.
Hey there, I'm meteorologist Markina Brown with you tonight. We had another great day today with temperatures above average, but a change is on the horizon. Get the details coming up.
Out of the latest on the war with Iran, a new AP National Opinion Research Center poll shows a shift as more Americans say U.S. and Israeli military action against Iran has gone too far. 59% of those surveyed feel the response is now over the line. There's also growing anxiety here at home over our wallets. 45% of Americans say they're worried about spiking gas prices as the conflict chokes off critical oil shipments through the Strait of Hormuz. While 2/3 of the country agree on stopping Iran's nuclear ambitions, only 40% believe protecting Israel should be a top priority. These new numbers drop as the war enters its second month. The toll, thousands dead and millions forced from their homes. Tonight, diplomacy is at a stalemate. Tehran has rejected a U.S.-backed ceasefire, continuing its attacks on Israel and U.S.-allied Persian Gulf nations. Iran is now warning against taking over one of its islands and issuing a list of demands. Total control over the Strait of Hormuz, billions in war reparations from America and Israel, an end to all U.S.-Israeli attacks against Iran and its proxies, and the total removal of U.S. military bases from the Middle East. Diesel prices in California are smashing records for a third straight day, topping $7 a gallon in Los Angeles, a staggering $2 jump for diesel in just the last month. In LA and Long Beach, regular fuel is now averaging nearly $6 a gallon. To fight the price surge, the EPA is now allowing sales of a high ethanol gas blend. Critics warn the cheaper fuel could damage engines made before 2001 and even drive up the cost of food.
The DHS shutdown is in its 40th day, and air travelers are now experiencing record wait times. Tonight, any momentum in Congress to secure an agreement to end the funding standoff appears to have dissipated. Fox's Chad Pergram has the very latest.
Travelers fuming as airport lines swell.
We're 4.5 hours ahead of our flight.
Republicans agog that Democrats balked at their own plan to fund everything at DHS except ICE.
You can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. You can't lead a Democrat to common sense if they're committed to crazy.
Democrats advocated chopping up the DHS funding bill for weeks.
My view is we should separate out the TSA, the Coast Guard, and FEMA.
But Democrats blocked a GOP effort to do just that.
The Democrats are a little bit like the Iranians. They realize that they can extract more if they don't seek a solution.
Democrats deny the Republican accusation that they move the goalposts.
This is nonsense. Nonsense. We've been talking about ICE reforms from day one.
However, some Republicans oppose their own option to fund some of DHS.
We have never done that. I think that's a bad precedent.
Even the threat of a canceled 2-week congressional break isn't splitting the logjam.
I don't think we ought to go on recess if we haven't funded the government.
But the House may bolt from Washington unless a deal is within range.
The House can sit around here and wait upon the Senate so they can go home and work in their districts and be summoned right back.
One lawmaker has an explanation for the deadlock.
Members have become, hardened in their positions. There are fewer members who are willing to kind of find that middle.
Senate Republicans still stymied over voter ID legislation. The GOP now pushing a special process to avoid a filibuster. But conservatives are skeptical about the success of that play call.
Talking to senators who want the Save America Act to pass, they go, yeah, this is fake. It isn't going to work.
The Senate continues debate on the Save America Act, even though it's going nowhere. The Senate votes Thursday to mandate ID when voting. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
The search for Savannah Guthrie's missing mother, Nancy, continues after nearly 2 months. Tonight, a heartfelt plea from the Today Show host to viewers. In her first TV interview since Nancy was reportedly abducted from her Tucson home on February 1st, Savannah Guthrie is asking for the public's help, calling the situation for her family overwhelming.
Someone needs to do the right thing. We are in agony. We are in agony. It is unbearable.
Until now, Savannah only posted her pleas to social media. The FBI has released video of a suspect, but no arrests have been made. Guthrie and her family are urging neighbors to review camera footage from late January to early February, and that $1 million reward is being offered for information leading to Nancy's recovery. Developing tonight, protests big and small coming for Los Angeles.
From the giant No Kings Day that's happening this weekend to one focused on immigration and the Dodgers, Fox 11's Laura Diaz reports.
We are calling upon the Dodger players to raise their voices and be in solidarity with their fans.
Wednesday afternoon, protesters carrying picket signs gathered at the famed Vin Scully Way leading into Dodger Stadium. From the air and ground, about 30 vocal demonstrators were visible. Organizers said the baseball team should not go to the White House to celebrate their World Series ring like they did last year. Why? They cited President Trump's immigration policies, where sweeping ICE raids saw suspected undocumented migrants rounded up in cities like L.A., a fact they said angered the Dodger fan base, which is heavily Latino.
We are really rooting for a three-peat, but what we're saying is that no repeat to the White House, that they should not go.
Wednesday's protest commemorates a pro-immigrant march held in L.A. 2 decades ago, which rallied the masses. This afternoon, public response was mixed as to whether the boys in blue should boycott the White House.
Maybe a PR standpoint, it wouldn't be the best idea, just especially with everything going on socially, especially in Los Angeles.
If it was me personally, I wouldn't go, but I can't decide for anybody else.
But protest was in the air. No Kings protests are slated for Saturday, March 28th. Previous years, thousands in L.A. showed up to protest the Trump administration policies on immigration and war, which demonstrators regard as aggressive. This is the NoKings.org website. It's pretty slick. They have everything from tutorials on how to arrange a protest to graphics on how you can post on social media and even how to make a sign. It's all right there on the website.
We want our protest to be family friendly. Grandma and grandpa can come. Differently abled people come. Bring the kids, bring the whole family. We want you to feel safe.
According to the organizers, they say at least 50,000 people have already said they're going to be here in the downtown corridor on Saturday. However, many more could simply show up. In downtown Los Angeles, Laura Diaz, Fox 11 News.
All right, coming up, the California primary election is a little over 2 months away.
We are in studio with one of the candidates fighting to replace current LA County Sheriff Robert Luna. Next.
Weather is sponsored by My Home Sold.
Live look outside from atop Mount Wilson, peering down on you folks in the San Fernando Valley. Nice night out there. Let's check in with meteorologist Markina Brown. What are we talking about the rest of the week here?
Pretty much what we saw today and what we saw yesterday, Marla, which is beautiful conditions, right? We were above average, but not too hot. That's what we're going to continue with. You look outside and you can see it's a beautiful evening, as you said. We've got some clouds out there, but for the most part, it is definitely a winter. Here's what we did today. Early this afternoon, we topped out in the low 80s after starting out at 60 degrees. The normal still above that at 71. Record high, there you go, 96 degrees. Taking a look at some of the numbers on the outside right now currently, well, we've got 74 degrees for you in Glendora. Good evening if you are in Diamond Bar. You are in the upper 60s right along with the folks in Chino. We travel to El Monte and we see 64 degrees, low 60s for you in Pasadena. And in Torrance, the current temperature is 57 degrees. So that area of high pressure, we've been talking about it, feels like for at least a couple weeks now, still in firm control of our weather pattern. That is why we are going to not only see another great day today or tomorrow, but also that is why we're going to continue with the great weather as we get into tomorrow. The big game is happening. The Dodgers has its opening day tomorrow. They're going at the Arizona Diamondbacks, and if this isn't great baseball weather, I don't know what is. We are holding on to temperatures in the 70s by first pitch time at 5:30. It is going to be a great one. As we look at other temperatures tomorrow, good. Numbers are going to be in the 80s and the 90s. Victorville should top out in the low 90s tomorrow. We've got 91 in San Bernardino. Take it to the valleys. Burbank at 86 degrees, Santa Clarita at 87. Pretty warm there, and again, above average for the folks in Woodland Hills as well. The change comes our way, because you know there is a change, as we get into the end of the weekend and the beginning of the work week, because that area of high pressure moves up and out of the area, and what happens is we've got an area of low pressure coming our way, and that will not only cool us down, but give us a pretty good chance for some rain, possibly as we get into now Tuesday night and into Wednesday. You can see the system here first giving the folks in parts of Northern California rain, even some mountain snow there. But late tonight, late in Tuesday night, I should say, into Wednesday is where we start to see the precipitation make its way towards us. So that is what we will look out for as we head towards next week. Now, until then, as I said, we are looking pretty good weather-wise. We've got temperatures that'll be, again, above average. So taking a look at the 7-day forecast for L.A., looking at tomorrow, also Orange County, we're looking at 83 degrees, maybe some clouds to start the day, but really nice. Even as we get into Saturday and Sunday, we're looking at even warmer weather with temperatures right around 86 degrees. Getting into the beginning of the work week, that's where things start to change. We go from 86 on Sunday to 80 on Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday, look at that, back to normal, if not cooler, with temperatures in the 60s and 70s. That is a look at what we're doing, ladies. I'll send it back to you.
Still ahead, heads up for all you lead-footed drivers. LA is on the lookout for speeders.
Where the city is installing those speed cameras. Plus, we are checking in with Nick Garcia.
Right, allegations of racism here on Pomona College's campus. We've been hearing about it for the past couple of weeks, and now students are hosting a meeting tonight. Some of the shocking statements they've made in this meeting. Next.
live across SoCal. This is LA Live News Tonight on Fox 11 Plus.
Happening now, allegations of racism at Pomona College.
The Black Student Union is holding a town hall meeting to discuss the incidents and a path forward. Fox 11's Nick Garcia live in Claremont with what the students are calling for. Nick?
Right, Christine, Marla, this meeting continues at this time. It was scheduled to go through 9 o'clock. I can tell you the crowd still now passing the microphone along and to each other, sharing their own experiences of racism, not just here at Pomona College, but at the other of the Claremont colleges. Worth noting, Pomona College is one of the 5 Claremont colleges. Take a look at some of this video from earlier. You can see hundreds of students and community members as well gathered to listen, speak, and share their own experiences here at Pomona College. Now, we first told you about these allegations last week. There have been several incidents of alleged discrimination, including a professor using the N-word. The Black Student Union says students have hosted parties with racist themes, and use of racial slurs have been prevalent at sporting events and socially on campus. Tonight, students say they want to meet with administrators to find a solution in which all students feel heard and safe.
I can only trust and hope and have faith that they're going to hear us out and we're going to be able to meet with them and come to an agreement and be able to change the culture of this campus.
Pomona College sent us a statement saying, in part, you should see it there on your screen, in tandem with our investigations into these incidents, the college is offering support to affected community members and taking proactive steps to expand intercultural competence, bias reduction, and cultural awareness trainings across campus. These trainings began over spring break and will continue through the semester and into the next academic school year. Again, spring break was just last week. Back out here live, though, students have said that the efforts by the campus so far to make them feel supported have been insufficient. That's why one of the reasons they're hosting this town hall here. Again, it continues to happen at this hour. I'm going to jump back in there and listen some more and hopefully bring you some more updates throughout the night. But for now, live in Claremont, I'm Nick Garcia. I'll send it back to you.
Are there clear potential outcomes tonight, Nick?
You know, not super clear. The statement that the college sent me is very similar to what we were sent last week. And again, they were just on spring break, so this is their first full week back. But students say it just has not been enough that they've seen to feel like they're being heard here.
So the matter going very public tonight. All right, we'll let you get back in there. Thanks, Nick.
LA is moving forward with a plan to install more than 100 speed cameras across the city.
Fox 11's Mario Ramirez went to check one out of the proposed locations.
LA City Council just unanimously approved a plan to install up to 125 speed cameras at busy intersections like this one here in Pico Robertson. The cameras will target high-risk areas with frequent crashes, high speeds, and heavy pedestrian traffic and could begin rolling out by late 2026.
We used to have that in the city, and it caused an uproar, so they got smart, and eventually they took it down. But I think LA is really willing to do whatever it can to make money at this point with all the broken roads and all the homeless, and it's just another trick to get people to pay more money.
The city installed red light cameras back in 2004, but shut the program down in 2011 over issues about cost, enforcement, and effectiveness.
It's a good idea to catch people driving at a very high speed, and they can enforce it, and they can also get footage of it directly. And I think it'll also heighten people's senses, and people will take speed and accountability more seriously.
City leaders say this new program will be different, managed by the Department of Transportation, not law enforcement, and focused on data, safety, and reinvesting money back into streets.
I think it's a great idea because there is a lot of speeding that happens around here, but I also feel like it's something that needs to go into place, but also make sure that the community is aware of it.
It's just California taxing the middle class and the poor again. If you think the wealthy people care about a speeding ticket, they don't. But it's the middle class and the poor that need their cars to get to work, and they need the extra money to pay their families, and that's just Big Brother in the sky.
Documents show the program will cost the city more than $6.5 million a year to operate, and it follows similar programs that have recently been rolled out already in place in San Francisco and Oakland. In Pico Robertson, I'm Mario Ramirez, Fox 11 News.
We are just a couple of months away from a high-stakes primary election on June 2nd. California voters head to the polls. The biggest elections locally is the LA County Sheriff's race. It is a critical moment for the nation's largest sheriff's department. Incumbent Sheriff Robert Luna is seeking a second term, but faces some competition from a crowd of formidable challengers.
One of those challengers is with us now. He is retired LASD captain and current candidate for LA County Sheriff, Mike Borneman. Good to have you.
Thank you, man.
You were a part of the LA County Sheriff's Department for 36 years. You have been retired for about a decade now. Why do you want to go back to work and lead this department?
Well, just because I left doesn't mean that I turned my back on everybody in law enforcement. And I've been watching with some angst over the last few years, and I've seen that we need to be doing a better job than we have been doing of keeping the people safe that we have sworn to protect. And I think that's going to require new leadership, stronger leadership. I think it's going to require greater accountability and, frankly, quicker action on things that need to be repaired.
Was there a trigger, something that made you say, I've got to run for this office?
I had multiple triggers, I think you would say. There were a lot of people that I know still in the department, people that I know that are outside the department. Mike, can you please run? You're the guy that can straighten things out. And I'm honored that, you know, they're asking me, but it got to the point where the cries got to be too much, and here I am.
Name recognition has a lot to do with this game, if you will, as we work our way to the June primary. What are you doing to get your name out there?
Well, I think I told you before I was knocking on doors, but that's a very slow process. It does work, it's got benefit, but I've also been appearing on TV and some radio.
What's been the reception like?
Really good, very positive. I haven't run into anybody that's saying, what are you doing? You know, I think that they understand where I'm coming from. They understand my moral, ethical values and what I bring to the table, and I think they're ready to help.
So I'm looking at the list of candidates. So you have incumbent Sheriff Robert Luna, who wants a second term. He was an outsider, came from a different agency when he ran. But also you have the predecessor, Alex Villanueva, who was sheriff before, lost to Luna. Are you running against both of them?
No, in my mind, I'm running against the incumbent sheriff. I do understand that Alex has greater name recognition, but like I've said before, name recognition is a two-edged sword. It can cut both ways. So I like to think of myself as the third, yet the best option.
Day one, you say that the first thing that you're going to do is a forensic audit. Why is that so important out of all the things that should be done on your first day?
Well, it's going to be a long day. I'll have a lot to do, but one of the first things is the audit, because I think that we need to let the public know that we're spending their tax dollars wisely. I'm not convinced that's the case. I've been told for years that there's this $350 to $600 million deficit built in every year. I don't know if that's true. I think that we really need to take a hard look at where we're spending our money, why we're spending it, and what we're doing it for.
Not only do you have to get the vote of the public, what is it you want to say to deputies who are on the job as to why they should vote for you?
You know what, I still know a lot of deputies on the department. Some friends that I work with, they've got kids on the department now. And I will tell you candidly that they are not happy with the way things are going right now, and they understand that I bring a level of calm and confidence and ability to the table that has been missing. And you know what, I love every deputy sheriff. I appreciate the jobs they're doing. They're doing the Lord's work. And they've been taking a beating the last few years, and I plan on making that stop.
What's the biggest difference between you and the incumbent?
Again, he's not here. I don't like talking ill of people that can't defend themselves, but I respect the office of the sheriff, but I think that we need a stronger leader. I think we need someone who's not afraid to make decisions, who will make the tough calls, and that's me. I'll be there to do it.
Over your lifetime in law enforcement, had you thought, you know, maybe one day I'll run for sheriff, maybe one day I'll go for that position, or is this a brand new thought?
I will be honest and say it is a relatively brand new thought. I was happy where I was on the department. I was happy with my life. I'm happy with my wife. But, you know, I've just seen what's been going on, and somebody's got to step up to the plate. And it's got to be somebody with built-in credibility, someone who's got that insider knowledge of the sheriff's department, the culture, you know, the procedures, the policies, the traditions of the department, and the sheriff doesn't have any of that. And I think that's one of the issues. It's been kind of like a fish out of water.
Final thought as we move toward June 2nd. What do you want voters to know?
I want them to know that I bring calm, professional leadership, ethical integrity, you name it. All the good stuff is the stuff that I bring, and I think that it'll be a new day for the Sheriff's Department when I take the helm.
All right, Mike Boardman, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your thoughts.
Appreciate it.
All right, here's a look at the other candidates running for sheriff. Current sheriff, of course, Robert Luna, Carla Carranza, Brendan Corbett, Oscar Antonio Martinez, Sonia T. Montejano, Eric Strong, Alex Villanueva, Andre Ann White. If you want to get to know the candidates, just head to our website, foxla.com. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, we are checking in with meteorologist Markina Brown.
Good evening, ladies. We've got more warmth coming our way for the short term. Over the long term, cooler temperatures and rain is possible. I've got the details for you coming up.
Wednesday's Child is back, our long-running segment to highlight children in foster care as DCFS is in the search for adoptive homes. Tonight, a VIP night for Sophia and Alexander with the LA Kings. Before this, the high five as the LA Kings take to the ice. This at the Luke Robitaille statue at Crypto.com Arena for tonight's Wednesday's Child story.
I'm Sophia and I'm 11.
My name is Alexander and I'm 12 years old.
While they love sports,
soccer and basketball. Basketball because Kobe Bryant and LeBron, I was a big fan of them.
I like football, I like basketball. I just like anything that's sports.
Like, do you play or do you watch?
I play.
That used to be my number, 20.
Seeing the LA Kings was a first, and this was a VIP night.
You can do whatever you want.
First for the ultimate fan experience, autographed jerseys from player turned team president.
Oh, look at this, looks good.
Luke Robitaille. Let's see the back of your jerseys. Turn around. Luke Robitaille right here. After a picture with Luke and wife Stacia Robitaille, let's learn more about the siblings.
I like reading because I get to learn about stuff that I never learned. And math, I just want to get better at math.
Alexander seems to be a protective big brother. They're in foster care. Asked why he'd like an adoptive home together.
Sophia, well, I don't know, I guess she doesn't like being by herself and she's scared of the dark.
Dinner before the game helps illustrate what she wants to do when she grows up.
I'm gonna be a baker because I want to do baking and stuff and do my own restaurant.
To learn more about Wednesday's Child and Adoption, call this DCFS hotline 1-866-921-ADOPT. That's 2367. Wednesday's Child loves working with the LA Kings. Luke and wife Stacia have their own nonprofit to uplift youth at risk. Echoes of Hope.
As far as our mission, it's definitely educational. But what we've seen is the emotional, the mental.
It's incredible how the years have gone by. Next year is going to be our 20th. We're excited about that. It's going to be amazing.
We hear from the organization's CEO, Nicole.
Echoes of Hope supports at-risk students in pursuit of their post-secondary education. So we're helping students with financial aspect of it. So things like, grocery gift cards and transportation and laptops.
That deserves a round of applause.
The philanthropy organization, The Colleagues, is honoring Echoes of Hope in April at their gala and fashion show fundraiser. Past honorees include Hillary Swank.
It inspired me to be an actor.
My wife's going to do a speech. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's a great thing. We're going to get to meet a lot of great people.
I always say it's about the kids. It's not about me. So they should all be up on that stage. When I saw the list of who they've honored, I'm like, wait, are you sure? Are you sure?
On this night, we thank the Robitailles for hosting Wednesday's Child.
Aw, the humility that they showed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, Stacia, we are sure. And what I love about them, this is not the LA Kings Foundation. There is that foundation.
Okay.
This is their personal foundation, and they have a lot of events at their home.
Wow.
For the youth. A Christmas party and everything. A lot of kids are from foster care. And
when you finished that shoot, you came back here and you were just glowing from it.
Well, I did not get to stay for the game. Darn you, Foster. Back to work. But yeah, one of our favorite Wednesday's Child.
Good job.
Yeah, really good job.
But the weather.
Yeah, so it's
this weather.
There was quite the marine layer along the coast today.
Tonight. And you're going to feel it throughout the day because that overcast is going to hold temperatures down along the coast, so you're not going to warm up as much. Inland areas, you're going to see temperatures well above average. So we're going to be dealing with that as we head towards the next couple of days. That's really going to be our norm. You can take a look outside right now and see that, yeah, the fog is definitely going to be a big part of our forecast late tonight, right now, even into tomorrow morning. So get ready for that. So far, no dense fog advisory has been issued, but just know that you need to be a little bit careful out there and mindful of that if you are going to be out and about. In terms of temperatures today, this is what we did. We started out at 60, ended up at 80. The normal high is 71 degrees, so we were above that still, not by as much as we've seen lately, but we were still up and above that. The record high, 96 degrees. Taking a look at some of the numbers outside, we've got 60s, we've got 70s. Currently, we've got 60 right now for the folks in Pasadena. We take you to Burbank and we see 65. We've got 60 in Santa Monica. Along the coast, upper 50s and lower 60s there. Again, remember that coastal fog is in full effect. The folks in Diamond Bar are in the mid 60s. So as I mentioned, for the folks in the inland areas, the valley areas, this area of high pressure is still going to be a big part of your weather, and so much so that once again tomorrow you are going to be above average. We're looking at your afternoon highs for tomorrow, and we see 88 degrees for the folks in Palmdale versus the low 70s in Santa Monica. The folks in Long Beach will be in the upper 70s. We've got 90 for the folks in Corona, and if you are in Burbank, you should expect temperatures in the mid to upper 80s tomorrow. So here are your headlines. It is going to stay warm again through the weekend for most of us, but we've got a pattern change on tap just in time for the beginning of next week, and that pattern change will consist of definitely cooler temperatures and the possibility of rain. So that area of high pressure that is in control right now moves out and makes way for this area of low pressure to come through. And look at what it's bringing, rain. As we get into Tuesday night into Wednesday now, that's what some of the latest models are now saying and timing this out to do, is it'll bring us a possibility for rain. The folks in Northern California will see it first, and then we will start to see it as we get into, again, Tuesday and into Wednesday. So get ready for that. In terms of the 7-day forecast here, again, big changes are on the way. I first take you to LA and Orange County and show you that we're looking at 83 degrees. Should be a really nice day for your Thursday. Getting into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, nice, even warming. But the big change comes as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. Coastal areas looking at 72 tomorrow, but in the upper 70s should be a really nice weekend. But low 70s and even possibly as cool as upper 60s as we get into the middle of next week. For the valleys and the IE, 88 degrees is your number for tomorrow. You're going to be in the 80s and 90s as we get into Saturday. Sunday, 87, but big changes by next week. We're looking at low 70s and again, the possibility of rain. That is a look at what we're doing, ladies. I'll send it back to you.
Rain. You heard it here. All right, we still have more news ahead of 8.
But first, here is a preview of what's coming up at 9. It's been in business here for 118 years, but now it seems it will be officially closing its doors Sunday. Or will it? The saga behind Kohl's French dip sandwiches. Plus, could the NBA be expanding into Las Vegas and Seattle? We'll tell you what the NBA Board of Governors had to say today. That's ahead at 9. Well, tonight, the Aquarium of the Pacific is mourning the loss of Ghost. Their beloved giant Pacific octopus. Ghost died yesterday after entering the natural end-of-life process known as senescence. The octopus arrived at the aquarium in May of 2024, weighing just 3 pounds. She grew to more than 50 pounds and was between 2 and 4 years old when she died. It's a sad time for staff who cared for Ghost each day. They say she made an 8-armed impression on all our hearts.
I guess they only live from 6 months to 5 years. I was wondering if she died
lifespan.
Early or long, and yeah.
Sounds like
fairly long.
Yeah. Okay. Well, local hero getting some national attention for rescuing 2 people off the coast of Oceanside.
That moment was caught on tape. Lucas Taub was walking along the jetty. He spotted a young girl and her dad caught up in some very strong ocean currents, struggling to keep their heads above water. Well, fortunately for them, Lucas is a university surf coach. He swam to the pair, got them to safety. We spoke to him on Good Day LA.
Me and Chris have been talking daily. It's been super special. You know, we've formed a bond, and he's my brother now for life. And his little daughter, they're doing great. She's ready to go back in the ocean. When the time comes, I'm going to give her a surfing lesson. So the story's never ending, right? And there's a lot more to the story. You know, Chris lost a son 2 years ago on that day. It makes me emotional just thinking that. But yeah, there was a lot going on that day. And so we know his son was really looking down in that moment.
If you're in a rip current, you swim sideways. All right, don't go anywhere. We're not done yet.
Right. LA Live News Tonight continues at 9 right after the break. We'll see you there. Storm drains and stealing power. Mayor Bass responds to the South LA crisis.
And this is at Last Goes Tonight. We are live Pasadena, the HOA over in Altadena, the Eaton Fire Zone, demanding some big assessments and some interesting controversial terms that go along with it. Stand by for that.
Hey there, good evening. I'm meteorologist Markina Brown. We've got big changes on the way, which could include cooler temperatures and also rain. I'm tracking big changes. We'll talk about it coming up.
Good evening, everyone. You're watching LA Live News Tonight. I'm Marla Tejas. Tonight, a follow-up to a story you saw first on Fox 11. A woman living inside a storm drain in South LA, and now Mayor Karen Bass is reacting, calling it a tragedy. But is anything being done to help? Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf, he first broke this story. He's live in South LA with the update tonight. Matthew.
Well, Marla, since I first aired that story on Monday, we've been getting more and more messages from people thinking that they're seeing similar situations near where they're living. But if you go ahead and take a look at this video, this is the latest. This is what happened today. The woman who was inside the storm drain just yesterday offered help by the city's Circle mental health team. She appeared to refuse and keep walking. Now, as city workers were putting a new cap on the storm drain today, a witness tells me another person was inside and climbed out. So at least two people, maybe more, just inside that one drain. Conditions inside worse than you can imagine. Human waste, trash, filth. Hazmat crews spent the better part of 5 hours cleaning that one drain up yesterday, declaring it a hot zone. But tonight, for the first time, Mayor Bass now publicly saying something about these images we've been reporting on this week.
I think it is an extreme example of the problem with homelessness in our city. I am glad that street homelessness is down 2 years in a row for the first time, 17%. I'm also glad that the mortality rate is down, but we still, of course, have tens of thousands of people that are unhoused, but we will continue with a sense of urgency until street homelessness is gone.
A lot of people in the city dispute those numbers on homelessness. It's not what they experience and what they see visually. But now the question is exactly how many people across LA are possibly living in storm drains? Reporting live tonight in South LA, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
Is there an effort by the mayor's office to figure that out?
So there were LA sanitation workers out here tonight, and I spoke with them. They didn't want to go on camera, obviously, because they're worried about their jobs. But they said that the mayor put out an order this week directing their staff to go out and clean and look inside storm drains. So at this point, it seems like they're really focused on it now. But as to how many people could be living in them across the city, who knows?
And these sanitation workers who you talked to tonight, have they recognized or do they acknowledge that this is not surprising to them?
It's hard to really gauge that response. I definitely feel like they are understanding how important it is right now. They say that they've seen it before, but I don't know if it's something that they were really specifically going after until this week.
Yeah, and that's the other question, I suppose, that should be asked, and that is this a job of an LA sanitation worker?
That's a great point, because the conditions in there, I mean, I could barely stand over it before they cleared it out. I could barely stand over the cap because it was so bad. The smell was just nauseating. So I can only imagine what these sanitation workers see on a given day.
Yeah, really. Okay. Well, excellent reporting. Matthew Seedorf, live for us tonight in South LA. More to come. Live look outside from atop Mount Wilson. There's the San Fernando Valley, and I heard her say, her as in meteorologist Markina Brown, the R word. We have some rain in the forecast.
Yeah, we're there now, aren't we? Yeah, we've got to refer to it as the R word. Yes, there is a chance for rain in the forecast. We will get to that, Marla, a little bit later on. I want to talk to you first about what's going on currently. It's really not bad. We are starting to see some fog develop along the coast. We'll get to that as well. But right now, we're at 64 degrees if you are in El Monte. If you are in Glendora, 10 degrees warmer at 74. Coastal temperatures, again, being affected by that fog that is already developing in the upper 50s and lower 60s. So lows tonight will hold consistent in the upper 50s along the coast, go a little bit further inland. It'll be a little bit cooler. The folks in the valleys looking at 55 degrees overnight tonight. The folks in Pasadena at 56, Ontario looking at 57, Chino in the 50s as well. You go down to Santa Ana in Orange County, you will bottom out in the upper 50s tonight. LA tonight, what you will do is pretty much what you did last night, and that is temperatures will hold steady in the low 60s throughout the night and into the early morning hours. So here is what you need to know. We will keep it warm through at least the weekend. We've got a pattern change coming our way as we get into the beginning of next work week, as an area of high pressure moves out and an area of low pressure moves in. That is why we are talking about cooler temperatures and the R word. I will let you know when it will make an appearance in our forecast. I'll track it for you, and I'll let you know how long it could stay. Coming up in just a little bit. Until then, Marla, back at you.
Markina, thanks. New tonight, recovery efforts from the Eaton fire take a dramatic turn with neighbors at odds, lawsuits flying, and now some homeowners are getting hit with an HOA bill running into thousands of dollars each. How are residents dealing with it all? Let's go live to Fox 11's Ed Lascos in Pasadena with more on this story. Ed.
And Marla, some of the residents, the neighbors, very upset about it, threatening lawsuits. They're not only upset about the high amount, talking thousands of dollars here, that the HOA is demanding in this assessment, but also the terms that come along with how it has to be paid, how quickly it has to be paid. You would think for an area that a lot of those folks have lost their homes, there's nothing left. You'd think the devastating Eaton fire would be enough, right? Think again. Watch.
The wind, the fire and the embers, and
never imagined.
No, never in my life did I think I would have an experience like this.
And he never imagined what is happening now, despite his home being heavily damaged and some 50 other homes burnt right to the ground. You would never imagine what the HOA here is demanding now.
Expect us to give them $24,000 with 30 days notice.
24 grand.
24 grand, or risk liens, late fees, 12% interest, and the removal of your house, actually auctioning off your home.
It seems that's the price to pay after the devastating Eaton fire.
Oh my gosh. There's an active fire inside that house.
Yeah. Now, more than a year later, the scars of that fire still burn here, right through this high-end community in Lavina, high in the hills in northwest Altadena.
People are in, a serious situation. Nobody wanted this. Nobody planned on this. So why not work together?
Instead, he says, the HOA, when pressed to explain, claims it's all the cost of fire repairs, from landscaping to fencing to irrigation, costs that don't seem to add up, even to his insurance company.
They could not find enough in the documentation to warrant the fee, which tells me that maybe I'm right in asking questions.
Questions like transparency. While some here rebuild, others are left with nothing more than a deer roaming through what used to be their living room.
The pain continues, and it's really split this community, and I don't know how we get back from this. I think it's pitted neighbor against neighbor. People think I'm a troublemaker just because I'm asking questions and want fairness.
Now live, he's asking other questions. He wants transparency, Ryan says. He's trying to get that from the HOA. Unhappy about not answering. He says they're just not answering it exactly line by line of how all of that adds up. We tried reaching out to the HOA. No luck there, Marla. But it really is a difficult situation. You know how it is. I'm sure a lot of folks know how it is when you're dealing with the HOA. You have many in that neighborhood who say, okay, we'll give them the money if we can afford it because simply we want the repairs. And others say we want accountability and how it goes down. So it's one of those battles there. Unfortunately, though, Marla, it's happening in an area where a lot of folks lost their homes. There's nothing left.
Yeah, it's just so devastating all the way around. Are they lawyering up? Is a group like the Consumer Watchdog, is that something that they could turn to? You know what I'm asking, Ed. Sorry.
No, I know exactly what you mean. No, they haven't gotten to that point yet. Some of them are lawyering up themselves, getting some legal eagle advice, if you will. It hasn't gotten to that point yet. Ryan, for his point, says he's already paid that money, but he's hoping to get a refund back on the interest and some of the penalties that were associated with it. So that's the battle that they're dealing with back and forth.
Oh, goodness. Okay, well, obviously more to come there as well. Ed Lascos live for us tonight in Pasadena. A seismic shift in the tech world. The Los Angeles jury has found both Meta and YouTube liable for the addictive design of their platforms. Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez tonight with some reaction.
Reaction from parents waiting outside the LA courthouse, where a jury found that YouTube and Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, maliciously used practices that allegedly addicted children and harmed their mental health, particularly that of the 20-year-old plaintiff standing next to her attorney.
This message is one that's important to Kaylee and her family.
but it's of very great importance to a generation of people that you will be held accountable for the features, regardless of whether the children are getting sent pornographic pictures, regardless of whether they're being sexploitated, regardless of those types of issues. Just because of the features alone that drive addiction, these companies can be held accountable.
How accountable? $3 million in compensatory damages and another $3 million for punitive damages, with YouTube responsible for 30%, Meta 70% because of its larger stockholder equity.
We respectfully disagree with the verdict and will appeal. Teen mental health is profoundly complex and cannot be linked to a single app. We will continue to defend ourselves vigorously, as every case is different.
Similar cases are making their way through the courts. Parents like the ones present every day during the LA trial, with photos of the children they claim were harmed by social media.
I want everybody here, every parent here, to say their child's name. Annalise Shot, Colorado.
Coco Conar, Los Angeles. Been a complete validation of what we've been screaming on the top of roofs about for years. Stop blaming the parents. It's on you.
YouTube reacting with a written statement saying, in part, this case misunderstands YouTube, which is a responsibly built streaming platform, not a social media site. They add that they completely disagree and they do plan to appeal. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Christina Gonzalez, Fox 11 News.
New at 9, the Supreme Court delivers a major blow to the music industry, ruling unanimously that internet providers are not liable for their users' pirated downloads. The 9-0 decision tosses out a $1 billion verdict against Cox Communications, with Justice Clarence Thomas writing that simply providing internet service does not constitute copyright infringement. Recording industry leaders say they are disappointed, calling it a win for online theft. A model dies after botched butt injections. Up next, details on the unlicensed beautician is found guilty. And from No King's Day to Dodger Stadium, a massive wave of protests set to hit LA this weekend. Those details ahead. Plus, a 118-year run comes to an end. Kohl's French Dip is actually closing this weekend. More on the final flavor feast. After 8 months of extensions, the final countdown is on for Kohl's French Dip. The 118-year-old downtown staple officially closes this Sunday, March 29th, after struggling with rising costs. Fans can grab a final sandwich during a flavor feast this weekend featuring guest chefs from Bay Cities and Jitlata. Owners are still hoping a last-minute buyer can save the historic space, but for now, the doors are shutting. If you're heading down there, get there early. The first 59 dips sold each day come with complimentary See's candy. Ooh, can't beat that. Now, from one French dip restaurant to another, an era is ending at one of LA's most iconic eateries. Philippe, the original, is removing the signature sawdust from its floors after more than a century on North Alameda Street. Management says insurance requirements for safety and liability forced this change. While the floors will look different, the legendary French dips and commitment to tradition aren't going anywhere.
Weather is sponsored by American Career College.
All right, live look now at Santa Monica Pier, and it looks a little hazy because of that marine layer. Let's check in with Markina Brown, meteorologist. Am I right on that?
That is correct. Thank you for asking, Marla. Good evening, everybody. It is about the fog right now, and it was last night, and it will continue to be, Marla, over the coming days. We've got a marine layer that will hinder those temperatures for the coastal folks, so you'll notice that by afternoon. Already, we're starting to see it develop along the coast, not just in Santa Monica. Let's take a look. Our futurecast is taking us hour by hour, showing you that that fog will be around overnight tonight. And look how far inland it gets in. You could see it here all the way past LA into probably some of the valleys. And so again, because of this, temperatures are going to stay a little on the cooler side right here, but right here inland, it's going to be warmer because you won't be dealing with that, and we'll see those temperatures once again get above average. But again, you can see the futurecast at least showing fog, but not rain, at least not for now. We do have a possibility of that in the forecast. We'll get to that in just a second. Started out today at 60 degrees, ended up at 80 this afternoon. The normal high 71 degrees, record 96. The reason we saw temperatures that were, again, above average today is because of this area of high pressure that has just been sticking and staying. As we look at tomorrow, again, you'll notice the difference here. Coastal temperatures in the 70s, some low 70s here like Santa Monica, but you go inland and we've got some 80s, mid 80s and even 90s there. So that will be the story, but everybody's forecast will change as this area of high pressure moves up and out. Again, it is still down to the south of us and very much affecting our weather, but when it starts to move out, it will allow our next weather system to come in, and this next weather system is what will give us a big change. We're talking about cooler air and again the possibility for rain. And so speaking of rain, let's talk about our chances and how it increases headed toward the beginning of next week. You can see nothing as we get into tomorrow and the next day and the next day, but by next week, Tuesday, we start to see those chances for rain creep up as this system slowly but surely comes our way. Looking ahead to Tuesday night, you can see it giving folks in parts of Northern California a good amount of rain. We're going to get in on some of that as well. Again, still kind of far away, so not sure how much rain we could see just yet, but just know that there is at least a possibility for us to see a little precipitation as we get into Tuesday night and possibly Wednesday. Let's talk about the 7-day forecast, shall we? Because again, before we get to that, we're looking really good. Thursday for LA and Orange County, 83 degrees is what we'll see. We're creeping those temperatures up to 86 as we get into Saturday and Sunday, but down to the low 70s by next week, and then possibly upper 60s for the coast. 72 degrees for you on Thursday. You're up into a nice 77 degree day as we get into Saturday, Sunday. We're at 76, but then that area of low pressure comes in. It increases your cloud cover and decreases your temperatures. You're looking at numbers in the lower 70s and then eventually possibly upper 60s. For the valleys and Inland Empire tomorrow, enjoy 88 degrees. You're in the low 90s, back into the 90s just in time for the weekend. But then you start to cool by the beginning of next work week with increasing clouds and temperatures in the upper 70s and then eventually in the lower 70s. We take you to the high desert where they will see lots of sunshine tomorrow and 88 degrees. You'll be in the low 90s as we get into Saturday. Sunday, you'll start to see that cooling. Still lots of sunshine there, but but look at the clouds as they make their way into the forecast just in time for the beginning of the work week. We're looking at temperatures first starting out in the low 80s, and then look at that drop, upper 60s as we get into Tuesday. Wednesday, 65 degrees with a decent chance for rain. That is a look at what we're doing. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Markina, thank you. Coming up, new domestic violence allegations for reality star Taylor Frankie Paul as new videos begin to surface. A Florida woman is facing up to 7 years in prison after being convicted of killing a popular social media model with illegal butt injections. Jurors in San Mateo County found this woman, 53-year-old Vivian Alexandra Gomez, guilty of involuntary manslaughter. Prosecutors say Gomez, an unlicensed beautician, flew into SFO in 2023 to perform this procedure on Christina Ashton Gorkani, a model known as a Kim Kardashian lookalike. Happened at a Burlingame hotel. Gorkani went into cardiac arrest and died the next day. This case follows a 2021 FDA warning that such silicone injections can cause fatal embolisms and strokes. Gomez will be sentenced in May. The woman accused of firing 20 shots at Rihanna's home pleading not guilty earlier today. Prosecutors say Ivana Ortiz used an AR-style 15 rifle while the singer and her family were inside, but thankfully no one was hurt. A judge refused to lower her nearly $2 million bail, citing major concerns for public safety. Reality star Taylor Frankie Paul is facing new domestic violence allegations. This comes after a 2023 video involving her ex-boyfriend Dakota Mortensen surfaces. This marks the third such investigation for Paul, whose upcoming season of The Bachelorette was recently axed following a prior assault plea. The West Jordan Police Department in Utah says they are now reviewing multiple videos tied to the alleged altercation to determine details and timelines. Her team claims she is a survivor of abuse and is preparing to share her side of the story.
Hundreds of students gathered on Pomona College calling out alleged racism. We're live here on campus next.
Plus, Willy Wonka's golden ticket and C-3PO's head up for grabs. Your chance at movie history ahead.
Live across SoCal, this is LA Live News Tonight on Fox 11 Plus.
New tonight, we continue to follow allegations of racism at Pomona College. The Black Student Union is holding a town hall meeting to discuss the incidents and also a path forward. Fox 11's Nick Garcia live there in Claremont with what the students are calling for. This meeting was underway when we spoke to you an hour ago. Has it since wrapped up?
Yes, Marla, just in the last half hour or so, that meeting did wrap up, but not before dozens of students had a chance to voice their concerns and share their own experiences. In fact, at one point during the meeting, one of the speakers asked the crowd to raise their hand if they'd experienced it themselves. Dozens of hands shot up. Take a look at this video from earlier. Hundreds of people, not just students, community members as well, showed up to listen to the allegations, to speak and share their own experiences here on Pomona College's campus. And we first told you about these allegations last week. There have been several incidents of alleged discrimination, including a professor using the N-word. The Black Student Union says students have hosted parties with racist themes, and use of racial slurs have been prevalent both at sporting events and on campus. Now, tonight, students say they want to meet with administrators and find a solution in which all students feel heard and safe.
I can only trust and hope and have faith that they're going to hear us out and we're going to be able to meet with them and come to an agreement and be able to change the culture of this campus.
Now, we did reach out to Pomona College for an interview or statement. They sent us this one you're seeing on your screen, saying in part, in tandem with our investigations into these incidents, the college is offering support to affected community members and taking proactive steps to expand intercultural competence, bias reduction, and cultural awareness trainings across campus. Now, back out here live. Again, like I said, that meeting wrapped up just about a half hour ago. The school says that those special trainings for the faculty started during spring break, which was last week. Again, we'll see what else changes here, but the students here really want a chance to meet with the administration, and they'd like to see some consequences for those students who have repeatedly used these racial slurs on campus. Marla?
Do you think that the students will be able to meet with the administrators?
You know, there were a couple of administrators in attendance. We weren't able to speak with them, but they were in attendance here, at least hearing out the students. Hopefully they had a chance to speak with the board members from the Black Student Union. We'll see if that happens. I've been in touch with not only the school, but also those students, so I'll continue to update you if that develops in the next few days or weeks even.
All right. Nick Garcia live for us tonight there in Claremont. Thanks so much. Developing tonight, protests big and small coming to Los Angeles, from the giant No Kings Day that's happening this coming weekend to one focused on immigration and the Dodgers. Fox 11's Laura Diaz reports.
We are calling upon the Dodger players to raise their voices and be in solidarity with their fans.
Wednesday afternoon, protesters carrying picket signs gathered at the famed Vin Scully Way leading into Dodger Stadium. From the air and ground, about 30 vocal demonstrators were visible. Organizers said the baseball team should not go to the White House to celebrate their World Series ring like they did last year. Why? They cited President Trump's immigration policies, where sweeping ICE raids saw suspected undocumented migrants rounded up in cities like LA. A fact they said angered the Dodger fan base, which is heavily Latino.
We are really rooting for a three-peat, but what we're saying is that no repeat to the White House, that they should not go.
Wednesday's protest commemorates a pro-immigrant march held in LA 2 decades ago, which rallied the masses. This afternoon, public response was mixed as to whether the boys in blue should boycott the White House.
Maybe a PR standpoint, it wouldn't be the best idea, just especially with everything going on socially, especially in Los Angeles.
If it was me personally, I wouldn't go, but I can't decide for anybody else.
But protest was in the air. No Kings protests are slated for Saturday, March 28th. Previous years, thousands in LA showed up to protest the Trump administration policies on immigration and war, which demonstrators regard as aggressive. This is the NoKings.org website. It's pretty slick. They have everything from tutorials on how to arrange a protest to graphics on how you can post on social media, and even how to make a sign. It's all right there on the website.
We want our protest to be family friendly. Grandma and grandpa can come, differently abled people come, bring the kids, bring the whole family. We want you to feel safe.
According to the organizers, they say at least 50,000 people have already said they're going to be here in the downtown corridor on Saturday. However, many more could simply show up. In downtown Los Angeles, Laura Diaz, Fox 11 News.
Well, now to the latest on the war with Iran. President Trump is issuing a final warning to Tehran: reopen the Strait of Hormuz by Friday or just face the consequences. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the president is prepared to unleash hell as Iran continues to reject U.S. peace proposals, while House Speaker Mike Johnson suggests Operation Epic Fury could be nearing an end. The administration is deploying 1,500 more troops.
I think we're wrapping up Operation Epic Fury. That's what I think. I think it will be done in short order.
The 82nd Airborne Division, they're typically deployed at the beginning of conflicts. So does the White House consider this conflict as wrapping up, or is it changing shape?
As I said at the beginning of my remarks, we are meeting our goals of Operation Epic Fury expeditiously. The president likes to maintain options at his disposal.
A new AP poll reveals almost 60% of Americans believe current military action has gone too far. As the conflict chokes off the Strait of Hormuz, 45% of those surveyed now fear spiking gas prices will hit their wallets here at home. Meantime, diesel prices in California are smashing records for a third straight day, topping $7 a gallon in LA. That is a staggering $2 jump for diesel in just the last month. In LA and Long Beach, regular fuel is now averaging almost $6 a gallon to fight the price surge. The EPA is now allowing sales of a high ethanol gas blend. Critics warn the cheaper fuel could damage engines made before 2001 and even drive up the cost of food. Developing tonight, the NBA is one step closer to adding new teams to the league. The NBA Board of Governors just greenlit a formal evaluation of Las Vegas and Seattle for potential expansion. Commissioner Adam Silver says the league is now diving into market studies, ownership groups, and arena finances. The NBA could grow to 32 teams by 2028, but it won't be cheap. Expansion fees are expected to top $10 billion. The road to the 2026 World Cup starts right here on Fox 11. The FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour officially kicked off in the shadow of the Hollywood sign, starting a cross-country journey through major cities like Vegas and Miami. The tour wraps up in New York this June, just as the real action hits home. The U.S. men's national team takes the pitch for their opening match June 12th at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. New at 9, the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach is getting a colorful upgrade. Look at this. The city's most iconic race is partnering with the Creative Class Collective to transform 3 pedestrian bridges into vibrant murals. The project blends Long Beach creativity with high-octane racing spirit. It will be unveiled April 7th, just in time for the green flag on race weekend, which is April 17th through the 19th. Up next, a landmark jury verdict against 2 social media giants. What this means for you, legal expert, legal analyst Lou Shapiro, he breaks it all down for us. And $1 billion in damage and hundreds rescued. Hawaii is picking up the pieces after catastrophic flooding. The latest on recovery.
Good evening. I'm meteorologist Martina Brown, and I am tracking an area of high pressure poised to move out and make way for an area of low pressure that could bring us cooler temperatures and rain. The details on both coming up.
But first, here is a live look at Rick's Cafe in Jamaica from our Earth Cam. It's about 1:40 in the morning there. It looks nice and serene, as it should. Located along the West End Cliffs, this spectacular location offers unrivaled views of the daily sunset. Well, hello, Jamaica. All right, more to come from LA Live News Tonight, right after the break.
Fox 11 Plus, SoCal's home for
jury has ruled against Meta and YouTube in a landmark trial focused on social media addiction. Both Meta and YouTube were found negligent in how they built and ran their platforms. The jury agreed that this negligence played a direct role in harming the now 20-year-old woman who filed the lawsuit. Joining me now is attorney and legal analyst Lou Shapiro. We could talk about this for days, so let's do our best to simplify this if we could. Just break it down for us, Lou, if you could, the arguments that both sides presented and why the jury decided to go with the plaintiff.
Sure. So the plaintiff side is saying that Meta is not doing a good enough job of making sure that their platform is not addictive to children, that is basically open to everyone. They can be on it as long as they want. And it's designed to keep producing content that makes them just want to click and click for hours on end, not realizing the psychological damage that it does to a minor. The defense, Meta, argued, we're not the parents. It's the parents' job to monitor what their child is doing on social media, to say, you've had enough screen time today. We're not the parents, they are. That's the question that went to the jury, and the jury ultimately went along with the plaintiff's side and said that Meta needs to do a better job of putting certain safeguards in place so that children do not become addicted to it, so it doesn't affect their mental health. Okay. And that's how we got this verdict today.
Okay, so now with that said, noting specifically how the jury ruled, what does this mean for the future of YouTube and Meta? Do they have to, for instance, redesign their platform?
So in the short term, the answer is yes, because while this case may go on appeal, Meta and YouTube want to show that they are, for the public, at least the court of public opinion, that they are going to do their best to try to remedy the situation down the line. So they may put certain age restrictions in place now. They may have certain parental controls that are now going to be put into place that give parents much more monitoring availability and visibility over their children. There could be certain protections in place that tell a child, you've been on this too long, now you need to take a break, and they actually tell the child, we are not going to allow this account to be active for the next 10 or so minutes. So those types of implementations, I think, will be put into place.
Now, there were big headlines just yesterday that in a separate case in New Mexico, the jury there found Meta liable and forced to pay $375 million. Today, collectively, it was $6 million to the plaintiff. So $375 million, the jury ruled yesterday. What's the difference?
So the case in New Mexico didn't have to do with the addiction of minors on the platform. It was a totally different issue. The issue was, is Facebook, Meta doing enough to make sure that children are not being taken or being lurked into by predators on the net? So it had to do with child safety protections against predators, nothing to do with the actual content that children are seeing online. So that's why it was two different types of cases.
So $375 for Meta yesterday, $6 million, which Meta has to pay 70% of, if I'm not mistaken, from today's verdict. This is a drop in the bucket, though, because checking Meta's value, $1.5 trillion. So this isn't a lot of money to them. They're going to appeal. That's what they said today, Meta and YouTube. What does that appeal process look like? Do you think that they have a leg to stand on?
So the appeal process has two elements to it that I think we all need to keep in mind. One is that it ties up payment for potentially up to 5 years. Second prong is that this case may make it all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court because it's an issue that has national importance, especially by the fact that there is a Section 230 law in place that is supposed to protect social media platforms from prosecution. In this case, they sort of got around it because the platform is protecting, because the law is protecting content. And in this case, the argument was it's not the content that's an issue, it's the platform itself has a design defect that is not healthy for children. That's how they got around it, but that's a question that may go up to the Supreme Court, which will decide, was that the legislative intent of Section 230? Maybe it was also to protect the underlying design of the platform as well. Remains to be seen.
Wow, I mean, this is really, as it's being called a bellwether test case, really, because this case, in fact, is tied to about 2,000 other pending lawsuits that have been brought by parents in school districts across the country. So we'll see where this ends up. In the meantime, we thank you, Lou Shapiro, for jumping on and analyzing this for us tonight. Easter spending is set to hit a record $24 billion this year, with shoppers spending almost $200 per person, while egg prices have plummeted 42%. You'll pay much more for everything else. Candy is up 11%. Meat has jumped a percentage as well. Experts say cooking at home is your best bet to beat the sting of rising prices this holiday. Well, spring has arrived at the LA Zoo with the inaugural LA Zoo Bloom, the zoo's reimagined annual event commemorating the season of rebirth, wildlife, and the natural world. It kicks off this Friday with activities running through May 25th. LA Zoo Bloom is promising special spring programming for families and guests of all ages, live performances, crafts, photos, opportunities, and a whole lot more. And if you want to go to the zoo, what's the weather look like in the coming days? Hey, let's check in with meteorologist Markina Brown.
Yeah, good idea. Plans at the zoo would be great. We've got some great weather over the next couple of days, really, for some zoo plans. So not a bad idea. Taking a look at what we're doing currently on the outside, it's comfortable in lots of places. We've got some cooler coastal temperatures, if you will, as we continue to see the fog develop. We've got 57 degrees for the folks in Torrance, 59 at LAX, the folks in El Monte. Good evening to you. You're at 64 degrees. So the reason it's going to be a good zoo day, whether it be tomorrow or the next day or even the next day, is because of this area of high pressure. It has been in firm control of our weather over the last few days, and it will continue to be. But it will eventually move up and out of the area, and when that happens, changes will come our way. We'll talk about those changes, and I will track them for you coming up. But first, let's talk about how nice tomorrow will be. Again, above average, but not too hot. We're looking at numbers that'll be in the upper 80s for the folks in Santa Clarita. The folks in Burbank should expect temperatures right around 86 degrees by tomorrow afternoon. We're doing 89 in Ontario. Victorville reaching the low 90s there, right along with the folks in San Bernardino and Riverside. So here comes the change. Here's how it happens. We've got that area of high pressure move up and out, making way for this, a system to come through that will not only give us an opportunity for rain, but also much cooler temperatures. It won't be as warm and possibly not as dry. As we take a look at our rain forecast here over the next several days, look at that, 0%, 0%, 0%. Then as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, we start to slowly but surely increase those chances. So far, our highest chance for rain will be on Wednesday. Of course, that's a little ways off, but we'll keep an eye on it at least and track it for you as the days go. But as I track this hour by hour for you, we're looking at Tuesday early morning, and you can see lots of rains for the folks in Northern California. And then here it comes. It is being pushed our way, and yeah, looks like it'll start at least now as we get into late Tuesday night and into Wednesday. Models could shift as we get closer. If anything changes, we'll let you know. But this is going to be the story as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. Cooler and possibly wet. Here's a look at the 7-day forecast. Until we get there, it is going to be nice for the folks in LA and Orange County. We're looking at 83 degrees tomorrow. You're up to 86. Gorgeous degrees as we get into the weekend. Things start to change for everybody, including the coastal areas. Tomorrow you're looking at 79 degrees. You're up to 77 as we get into Saturday. But look at what happens as we get into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We start to increase the clouds, and we see the temperatures come down. That is a look at what we're doing. Marla, back to you.
Markina, thank you. Recovery efforts underway in Hawaii after catastrophic flash flooding led to dozens of water rescues and forced thousands of people to evacuate. Fox's Robert Ray has the story.
Another day of cleanup on Oahu's North Shore after a surprise downpour created some of the worst flooding Honolulu has been in nearly 2 decades.
We had no warning. And by every definition, as best as I understand it, this is a classic rain bomb.
Raging floodwaters buckling roads, sweeping away cars, and tearing homes off their foundations.
The water come up really fast, and, we can do nothing, just get out of the house and leave.
Days later, crews are still assessing damage, in a process officials warn could take weeks and cost nearly $1 billion to repair. National Guard troops have been helping clear debris, along with dozens of volunteers, eager to show what the governor calls aloha in action.
We got hit so hard by this. People lost everything. And so it's really heartwarming to see everyone come together.
But adding to the troubles, isolated thunderstorms that set off a fresh round of flooding and mudslides at the start of the week. Toxic debris, mold concerns, and boil water notices for brown water. Also, all a major concern.
Those that are working a lot, like kind of in the flood areas, we worry about like leptospirosis even.
Aid groups have set up free clinics to treat anyone sick in the community. Free food and supplies also going toward those who lost their homes, as nearly 200 people had to be rescued during the storm. And more help could be on the way as the governor of Hawaii has asked President Trump for federal funds. In Lahaina, Maui, Robert Ray, Fox News.
Well, this is the worst flooding Hawaii has seen in more than 20 years. Governor Josh Green says damages could top $1 billion. More than 230 people were rescued during the storm. All right, coming up, Bob Dylan is heading back to the Golden State. We'll have his new California tour dates next. And before we head to break, let's take you to Italy. This is a live look at Capri. Thanks to our Earth Cam. This is a view of the Bay of Naples, seen from the legendary hotel, the Caesar Augustus. It's a little after 5:50 in the morning there. For a Thursday, what a start. And it's 55 degrees. Gorgeous. More to come. Stay with us.